What are the best standardized testing accommodations for a dyslexic? That's a great question, and I'm going to answer it today. My name is Kathleen, and I'm a dyslexic here to help other dyslexics. I help busy, overwhelmed parents understand their child's frustration with dyslexia so they can support, encourage, and empower them. Let's get into the video. Standardized tests. I absolutely hate them. I always have, and I always will. To be very honest, they don't show my true ability. They don't show my true skills. What comes out is that I don't understand the material and I struggle to understand everything. So it's really not fair and it's not a true test. But unfortunately, it is something that states require so they can measure learning. Where they came up with these, I don't know. I really don't like them. I would love to see them go because they are so frustrating. I know to get into college, I had to take them. We had to take them every year. I had to take just all the time these tests. And I know that I'm still going to have to take standardized tests to get certain things that I want here soon. So I know that standardized tests are not out of the picture for me either. I do know that there are 3 easy accommodations to put into place to allow standardized testing to be easier for your child. So let's cover those now. The first one is untimed test. And this could look totally different depending on your state. It could be time and a half. It could be completed within the day, just as long as it's longer time frame than everybody else. That should work. This is needed because sometimes we have to read the question 2 and 3 times to start to understand and comprehend what is being asked of us to pick one of those choices. If you are interested, this is part 3 of a series. I will link the other 2 parts, standardized testing, here for you so you can watch all of this information when we talk about testing and the other tips that I've included. So make sure that your child, if they have a 504 plan or an IEP, has untimed test. Accommodation number 2 is small group testing. That's right, to do it in a small group. Because if you're watching all of your classmates rush through and finish it and then pick up a book, you're going to be intimidated. You're going to shut down and you're not going to want to finish the test and you're going to feel like a failure in the middle of this. Trust me, I know, I've been there. I've watched this happen so many times and you just feel so defeated in the middle of that test because all of your classmates are done. So if you are to change the environment where they go to small group testing, there are less classmates, then it's less intimidating. Trust me, from firsthand experience, taking those tests with everybody else, watching everybody finish, and I'm not finished, and I'm having to sit there and do it, looking at the clock, stressed out because I know I'm not going to finish the test, and everybody else is done reading a book and enjoying, and they're going to get an awesome grade, just really hurt and frustrated me and made me shut down. So take some time to think about that if you can put these accommodations into place for your child, it's definitely going to help boost their self-esteem. Accommodation number 3 is one that not every single student is going to qualify for. You definitely have to have documentation to support this one, but it is the best one, and if you can make it happen, I say absolutely. And that is to have the test questions read aloud. That's right, this can be done by a person or the computer depending on what the child is used to. I know that we worked with it with both ways. We would put them in front of the computer and have them practice that way. We would also practice reading it to them themselves. And so it comes down to personal preference. But the one thing is it has to be documented that they have a specific learning disability or dyslexia to qualify for this. And it also has to be documented. I know in the 2 states I worked in, Virginia and Texas, that we had to have a decoding goal and proof that they were behind and that this was not at an advantage. And so, with that, the decoding goal would be like sounding out words, working on words, documented in the IEP. And the minute that was documented and showing that we spent all year working on it, then they could have it. The other thing with this is not to be surprised is when it comes to the reading piece, we are testing reading. And so most of the time it says can read everything except for reading passages. So when it comes to the questions about that, those can be read. But the reading passages, they have to read themselves because we are testing how they read. So it can be very frustrating with this because you're like, yay, I've got it all. They still have to read that and it can be frustrating. But a few things around that is to teach your child to have the questions read first. And so when I would work with my students on this, we would always practice that they would raise their hand and ask for the questions to be read before they took the time to read the passage. This way they knew exactly what information they were looking for, and sometimes they could finish reading it early if they figured out what they needed and they could move on because they had already answered the questions. They knew what to specifically look for. Because if not, they're going to be reading the passage, then they're going to be having the questions read to them, then they're going to have to go back and look and defend their answers. And I know most of the time they would get tired if they chose to do it the other way and just start bubbling in, or they would go back quickly. And so one of the easiest way is to encourage them to have the questions read first and to practice this with any reading passage. Read the questions first and then read the passage. I hope you found these 3 tips useful. These are the 3 accommodations that I would put into place to support my students. These were accommodations that were put into place to support me when it came to standardized testing, and they really were a big help. And just keep in mind that these standardized tests really do not show our true abilities and what we're capable of. So when you get the results back, take it with a grain of salt and know that it's just a test score and your child is capable of so much more. If you would like more ways to support your child, then go ahead and pick up Dyslexia Challenges Made Easy. That's right. I cover every single dyslexia challenge that I can think of and give you at least 2 strategies to help. And the best part is the entire guide is only $27, and it also includes all accommodations for a dyslexic broken down by category and signs of dyslexia and so many more things. It is so full of information. So I'm going to link it down below. Go ahead and check it out, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye, guys.